All right. You are welcome to this tax talk. This is a part of the conference that we had promised you guys that we were going to enlighten all of you in business, all the entrepreneurs about tax. So, without wasting much time, I'm here with Mr. John Ekoko, who by now all of you in our community know is my dad. Daddy, you are welcome. Thank you for being here on this tax talk. So my first question is, what should the layman know about tax? Before we even go into the reforms
Okay.
that have happened, in recent times, what should we, if we had to say, okay, what is tax to the layman, making the layman understand, what would you say it is?
Yeah, thank you, Sheon Dede. Tax is a levy on the citizens of a country, which monies are used to run government, to develop the country, and carry out activities in various sectors of the country. The first tax in Nigeria was carried out in 1938 by the British, and it was in form of a stamp duty.
Hmm.
And until 1960, there wasn't much improvement in the tax culture. But with independence, we have the Income Tax Management Act, 1960, the Company Income Tax Act, 1960, and they have been evolving until the recent one. So if we take 1938 as a landmark year for introducing tax, 2025 is the next landmark that actually evidenced a very big change from what the tax regime used to be. It used to be minor incremental changes, minor, but this time around,
There was a
a
major.
total overhaul. So today, a lot of businesses that were not formally being assessed are now being assessed. And what is the difference? The main difference is the use of technology to actually be able to enter into people's private spaces and get their financial details. And to do so, the government had to approach the government of France to come and actually help them to implement the technology that will be used. So in one word today, the things that could be hidden before cannot be hidden again
Because of the new
because of the
technological.
use of technology to be able to enter into the financial space of everybody and every business. So most of the laws have been there, but they were limited or crippled by incapability. The government didn't have the means,
The facility.
the know-how, or the technology to be able to go and get information. So the best they could do was, well, accept audited accounts and file a BOJ, that is, BOJ is best of judgment, and either refuse to accept what you are filing and give you their own idea of the tax without basis, or carry out audit, all using the information you present. Or at the state level where you have business names, not limited companies, the state will just wait for persons who need tax clearance, either to go to the embassy for appointment or to, what do you call it, to go and bid for contract. Or in some states, they'll say, when you are coming to school, bring your father's tax clearance or your mother's tax. They always wait for you to come because they didn't have the means to get your information. So what happens there now is that they now use what you call guesstimates, estimated guesses. Okay, which area do you stay? Go stay, you stay Magboro. Magboro is fairly enlightened, large population, good business, so you must be making money. Okay, your tax is 1.5 million. How did you arrive at that figure? Nobody knows. They say, okay, what's your profession there? Oh, you're an accountant. Okay, being an accountant, you must pay 2.5 million. It has no relationship whatsoever to the money you make. Whether you are making or you are not making, they don't know. And that was how they were giving different businesses different amounts to pay. But with the Tax Act of 2025, all that has changed. Now, everybody and every business is required to come and register in the government database. The ability to connect all transactions, even if you have 50 accounts as a person, they will bring all together, sum up all the inflows and the outflows, and now compared to what is expected to be in your account, what is tax-free, what is exempted, and everything outside that will be taxed.
Okay. That
So
is,
it's not a matter of opinion now
yes,
or
sir.
making guess. No, no, no. They have the technology, they have the data, they have the
They are
information.
monitoring everything now.
Yes, it happens for individuals and it happens for businesses. And also, before the crypto business, before that was not being taxed. All the digital businesses,
Yes.
all the TikTokers, and all of them. We call them digital assets.
Influencers.
All of them. Because whatever you do, you need a bank account. As to the existing companies and as to the existing taxes, they extended a few things, but those were normal. But this is a case where you are bringing in people that were totally outside of the tax net before,
Yes,
yeah.
okay. I would ask this question and then I can let you flow as long as you want. So I would just want to share that I have learned in your short answer the structure of where tax is coming from, and where you have also explained in details where we are, and somehow you've been able to indicate where we are going to. So I would just want you to talk about the expectations to business owners, heads of ministries, people who are or who have this large inflow. I want you to talk about those benchmarks, those things required, and then the expectations. What should we know, and what how are we expected to go about this new tax reform? I think that's my
Thank
question.
you very much. That is a crux of this new tax reform. For the very first time, the tax law is criminalizing wrong returns. They do not assume that it was a mistake. They assume that you deliberately fed them with wrong figures. And apart from instituting penalties, they have introduced criminal prosecutions. That's number one. It never used to be so. Previously, if you go to the tax man and you submit your accounts or your returns, he looks at it, he says, no, I don't agree with you. Yes, I'm going to give you this amount. Then you go back and forth until you settle and you pay and you get a tax clearance. But now, if the returns are wrong and the man can prove that, oh, you wrote 20 million here, you were supposed, or you actually earned 200 million, they will say, you were trying to lie. For trying to lie, it's an offense on its own.
With its own penalties.
With its own penalty. Then they'll come and still assess you on your 200 million. After paying the tax, there are still other penalties again. The long and short of it all is that it introduced a large number of penalties, of offenses that carry penalties. Let me talk about a few. Let's even talk, even if today it is a small business we talk about, it's still okay. There will be another time. Small businesses now, fortunately, they are exempted up to 100 million. However, for the first time, there are efforts being made to divide the small businesses into the limited companies and the business names. Prior to now, small businesses were small businesses. That's why you have the turnover as the threshold. Any business doing less than 100 million is a small business, and they enjoy the same incentives or benefits from government. But we got to know that the state governments are not happy because most of their source of revenue are being blocked, and they are virtually going to run bankrupt. So the federal government is now trying to meet with them to now uh, work out new thresholds for non-limited businesses. The argument being that because those people they pay to states, they don't pay to federal. But the federal law supersedes all. That is why the payee, as long as you are less than 800,000 per annum, you don't pay whether to state or local government or federal. It is the same thing for the business. And I will say that for me, every small business, as long as you are registered with CAC, you have a threshold of 100 million, after which you are now taxable.
Taxable.
Now, the other things are that if you are not subject to VAT, you are not subject to withholding tax, you are not subject to pay. What does it mean? You are not obliged to file pay for your staff again. Previously, every business must file pay for their staff. That's the pay returns. And there are penalties if you don't. They say, okay, from now,
Everybody.
if you are a small business, don't bother about filing pay. Because already with the new system, they have the records of everybody. And they can work out the tax without depending on your returns. Similarly with VAT, you don't need to charge VAT, you don't need to collect VAT as a small business. Withholding tax, you don't need to charge, you don't need to collect. But if you were forced to pay, maybe because of the client you are working for, the government says you can come and ask for refund if you fall into the category of zero rated VAT. In which case, the exempted person, if he pays VAT, he cannot reclaim it. But the zero rated, if he pays under any reason, he can go and ask for refund. That's the first thing. What applies to VAT applies to withholding tax. The next thing is, if you are a small company and you are working with any service provider, whether vendor or professional, whether merchandiser, whatever their category, please make sure that the people have tax ID numbers.
Okay.
Because if they don't, the day you qualify to be taxed, everybody that you give contract to who does not have a tax ID number is counted to be an offense. First, you pay 5 million for giving contracts to people who do not have tax ID numbers. Then for every supply or contract you give, you pay 5,000. On top of that, if you don't collect tax that is due, 40% of the amount of the tax due will be charged as administrative expenses. They say that particular good or service will be it will be disallowed, which means government will assume you didn't spend that money. It will be added back to your profit. If you don't remit, another 10% again will be charged, while at the same time disallowing the whole of that transaction. That is a serious issue. So the first thing is, whether you are small or big, please, whoever you are going to give contract to, let the person have a tax ID number. Number two is that any tax that you should collect, if you fail to collect it, one, if you go and apply for refund, the government will not give you. In other words, you can only claim refund on transactions for which the tax has been paid. They will confirm that the tax has been paid. So if the tax is not paid by a taxable person, sorry, all your claims for refund will not be honored. That is what the government is saying. So there is a need to be sure that in all your service contracts, your vendor must have a tax ID number.
Yes, sir.
If you collect any tax from anybody, you must remit to government immediately. And if you pay any tax, be sure, follow up to make sure that they pay that money to government. Because as a small business, you are exempted from these taxes. And if, because you are working for a big company, they charge you the tax, the next thing is that you should be able to come back, compile your claims, and forward it to government that you are made to pay these taxes which you are not supposed to pay. So please, and within 3 months maximum, you can even compile all of them and wait for the end of the year before you present them. There is no problem.
Okay.
Now, another thing is that as a small business now, you are expected to keep books of accounts. Because even though you are not paying tax, it is expected that you will file your returns, even as a small business. If you don't keep books of accounts, the first year is 100,000. No, the first month is 100,000 penalty. Every month after that is 50,000. Similarly, if you fail to prepare your accounts, or your accounts are wrong, or seemingly not
False.
only false, yes, you still have heavy penalty.
In what occasion can an account be false? Now, as the small business owners are keeping records.
Yes, there are a lot of situations where accounts rendered are not correct. It could be deliberate, it could be by error. It is deliberate when you know your turnover is, let's say, 80 million, or let's say your turnover is 120 million. You go and start reporting 70 million.
Because you heard that they will not.
That to cross 100 million. And you see, you would have found a way to manipulate 50 million out of your turnover. If they discover, that one carries heavy penalty. But in the question of the wrong ones is that when you take all of your transactions, you reported it actually, but you misclassified them. You made mistakes when you're classifying them. You get, and it is left to the taxman to say, okay, fine, these were genuine mistakes. In which case, he can tell you to go and correct them. But if he doesn't believe that they are genuine mistakes, as far as it's concerned, you have lied, and the penalty will follow. Right? That is one part for the small business. The other part is that every small business is obliged to monitor their transactions. Because if in the course of the year you cross the 100 million, before you even cross it, go and start liaising with the tax office that my business is about to cross 100 million or has just crossed.
What do I?
So that all the returns you need to make. In that case, the question now is, all the people that you gave contracts that you did not collect withholding tax or VAT, are you supposed to go back and collect? I don't think so. I think from the point where you crossed, then all the laws that apply to the big companies apply to you. That is the way on. Anyone that you did before that is gone with it. You get. So the small business should not just go and relax and say, oh, because I'm a small business, therefore I will not pay attention to these things. That's number two. Number three is that let me put it this way. Before now, the small businesses did not need to file returns. Under the law, you're supposed to file employee annual returns latest by the end of January, individual returns, that is personal returns, latest by the end of March, accounting returns, latest by the end of June. But because the government did not have the means to assess what you were doing, they were not calling for these returns. Under the new regime, as long as you are a business registered in Nigeria, you must file employee returns at the end of January. You must file, the workers themselves, individuals must file individual returns by the end of March, and accounting returns, every business. This time around, both small business and big business. The only thing you will say now is that there is no provision, no deadline for small businesses, business names and enterprises to file returns. So in absence of any effective deadline, we are assuming that the 30th of June that the limited companies have will now automatically apply to the small businesses. Right? So every small business should get ready to file returns by 30th of June. If you don't file, the same sanctions that apply to the big businesses will apply to you. So there's a new sheriff in town. Everybody must run and take cover. It will be very bad to fall a victim at this particular time. No, it will be very, very bad. So those are highlights about small businesses.
This has been very insightful, Daddy. So one more thing is tax as it pertains to non-governmental organizations and
NGOs.
churches.
Thank you.
And churches.
Now, NGOs are what we call charity institutions. Churches too, on a broad level, are charity institutions. They are not subject to tax. But if they carry out any activity apart from their charitable content, they will be subject to taxes on those activities. Similarly, the staff who are paid salaries
from that NGO,
yes, the salaries of the staff are taxable. So they must file returns on behalf of their staff, right? But up till now, whether you are a church, whether you are a mosque, whether you are a zoo, whether you are a musical group registered as an NGO. But let me also put it very, very clearly that please, whether you are registered, whatever it is, you must be registered with the CAC. Number two, for the staff that you have and any other business that you have, you must go and file your necessary returns. If you don't, the law will catch up with you. And it will not seem as if it is because anybody is trying to, take advantage of you. No. But on your core business, which is either churches, spiritual, a
You are not
building
taxing.
society, other charitable organizations.
Yeah.
And one thing I must also say is, in case you become taxable, in fact, any gift to charitable organizations, there's a new law, up to 10% of your profit before tax, it will be allowed. Anything outside that will be written back to your profit and be taxed.
Hmm.
Individuals and business can donate up to 10%. And it doesn't need, those days, the government will write down the names of the charitable organizations. Today, the government does not bother. Say anybody who is registered,
Yeah. Falls under this.
yes, is free to collect donations from the public, whether businesses or individuals.
Wow. This has felt like a master class that we
Yes.
have learned so much from. And this is this tax talk. Daddy, we want to say thank you
Yes.
for granting us the opportunity. Um, One thing I look forward to is the people who would reach out because of this session. So all Daddy's accounts will be tagged underneath this video so that you can reach out for tax consultancies. You can get anything you need to do done the right way. Thank you very much.
And before I drop, let me just say this to small businesses. Number one, if you need to file returns, whether it makes sense or not, go and file it. Because if you file your employee returns in January, by the time you are filing your accounting returns and you claim to be paying certain salaries, it will be referenced to your employee return. And if it's not there, it can be disallowed.
Okay.
Or it can be made cumbersome before they approve it. Number two is that if you are giving businesses, yes, before I heard that there was a window where you can collect 2% as a small business. There's nothing like that today. It's either you are small or you are big. There's no, but make yourself knowledgeable about the requirements for the big company. Because before you know it, it will apply to you.
Hmm.
If I'm to go into it, I'll take a lot of time, but we can always schedule that for
Yes, we can
another
always
class.
have more sessions,
Yes, yes,
and you have a series of tax,
yes, yes.
classes that would also be made available for everyone to learn from. And this is just taking a step further to let the public know that there's so much that can be learned in tax. Daddy, thank you very much
I must
once
really
again.
congratulate you for putting this thing together.
Thank you very
Quite
much.
impressed. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
you will hear from our community very soon. The questions, the feedback, you will see the comments on all our social media pages, and I'm sure you'll be proud of the work we are doing.
Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
much once again, Daddy.
God bless you.
Yes, that's our time. Bye.